What's going on, guys? Welcome to part 53 of our Detroit Tigers franchise. We've got the 2018 offseason. Getting ready to go over the 2019 blueprint for success. This will be part 2, volume 2, episode 2, whatever you want to call it. You guys remember in the last episode I asked everyone who was going to view this to post a comment below on if they remembered what the first video or the first series was that they remember watching on this channel, just so I could know, just kind of something fun for me to figure out how long you guys have been here. So currently there's about 137 views on the video, and I only got, I think there's about 12 comments. I could be exaggerating that. It's the number that pops into my head though. And from those people, I was going to put a bid, or I was going to put you guys' names in a hat and just see who was going to be my off-season advisor. So what I instead decided to do was just make you guys all my off-season advisors. Everybody who commented be my off-season advisor. And the reason for that is because you guys did it anyway. You guys did it anyway. You probably thought, I can understand the thought process, you probably thought, hey, this guy isn't getting a lot of comments right now on this video like he wanted to. I'm probably going to be one of his off-season advisors, even if I just comment right now. So I might as well just say what I think he should do and what we should do as a channel. So with that being said, I took into consideration your guys' comments and your suggestions. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about what I'm going to talk about in this video when we actually go through who is actually available in the free agents currently. So I'm going to show you guys who I decided to re-sign and bring back for the Tigers roster for 2019, and go over a little bit of rationale on why I did that, and then we'll view some of the 2019 free agents for the MLB. So without further ado, let us go into the roster. All right, so first things first, you guys will notice that Yasiel Puig is signed. He's re-signed to $9.7 million a year for 5 years. I gave him what he wanted, guys. I gave him what he wanted, and I think he earned it. 26 home runs. He had his second best season in hits, best season in home runs in a bigger ballpark at Comerica Park, best season in RBIs, pretty solid season in stolen bases, and his his fourth best, but pretty solid nonetheless, 269. Well, I mean, I'll take it. Batting average. So Yasiel Puig had a great season, and he plays really well defensively. So there's really no reason for me not to bring him back, right? JD is a kind of a liability out there in right field, so that's why he's a designated hitter. It just makes sense. Yimi Garcia decided to let go, and it's not because of his overall rating. I love his overall rating. I love his age. I love me some Yimi Garcia. He was pretty solid for us in a few games, but every time I bring him out there to pitch, he gives up the big hit. He does that often, and I wasn't a fan of that. So it's more of a user decision on why I decided not to bring him back. I can't pitch with him for some reason. I just can't do it. I'm better with Brad Brock, who's 4 overall points worse than Yimi Garcia, and he's also 4 years younger than Brad Brock. So I decided to bring Brad Brock back because, let's try to say that 5 times fast. Brad Brock back. His ERA is not too good. Yimi Garcia's is great, 61 innings. Brad Brock gave us 97 innings in the bullpen. Well, between the Orioles and Detroit, but you guys get the idea here. Well, I'm kind of looking forward to the future a little bit because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, and you guys know that from the first episode. I'm looking for Kyle Ryan to actually give us something this season. I really am. He's a lefty. He can fit nicely into the bullpen with Kevin Segrist. That would be a nice option to have, especially given the fact that all of our starters right now are righties except for Matt Moore. we only have one lefty. We had two, but Danny Norris did not decide to use his player option to come back. He used his player option to test free agency and go from there. So speaking of Danny Norris now, I don't know if I want to spend the amount of money that he's going to require for a fifth starter. Because right now, guys, our pitching staff is pretty legit. Matt Moore, 85, 83 Fulmer, 83 Ross, 83 De Leon. Do we really need an 80 overall fifth starter? Because in all honesty, fifth starter is going up against the other team's fifth starter. So Danny could get us a lot of wins, right? But in the same sense, on the same token, you know, we could start Vernon Geary, Tom Goslin, Marco Guzman, and really get him going. I mean, he's making less than $1 million. And Danny Norris is probably going to ask for $3 or $4 million a year. It would make sense in the sense where you're looking at age and you're looking at overall and you're saying, you know, pay to win, right? Pay your guys. If you want to win, you got to pay your guys. But I'm also looking at it like, you know, in the future, when all these contracts are starting to mature, look at Matt Moore, 9.4, 9.9. Let's look at Fulmer here. What does he got? 1.6. That's Joe Ross. $3 million a year. De Leon, 1.2. So it's not too bad, but you guys can see my point. It's going to be like that for pretty much everybody on the roster. Puig in 5 years is going to make 11.8. JD Martinez going to make 9 at year number 4. So the longer you go, the more money that these guys are going to make. So to me, it only makes sense to start investing in your future than spending a bunch of money on a guy who's going to be a fifth starter, right? That's my rationale. So I want you guys as my offseason advisors now to kind of go with me on this. Follow along here and let me know your opinions too, because you guys are going to be my offseason advisors, right? I want to see Marco Guzman take the next step. I want to see him become a fifth starter. I want him to do well in spring training. I want Vernon Geary to do well as well, and really see what we got. So let's go next to some of the positional players. You guys know that I did sign some of the minor league players that we needed for depth, but here's an interesting story here. Luis Valbuena ended up signing to a 1-year contract for 3.3, and that's because he'll be 34. And I think he can give us what we need out of him for one more season. And then Sanchez and Esposito can be our first baseman of the future. So one guy, I mean, they both hit righty, but Pablo Sanchez can play outfield as well. So he's not purely a first baseman. Esposito can play third. He can play the corner infield spots. So that's good. Chris Carter, I'm going to say he's going to have to be let go because look at the contact numbers, 43, 44, but the power is legit. But Sanchez is a better overall hitter. Esposito is a better overall hitter than Chris Carter. So I don't see how Chris Carter fits in with us this season. I'm glad that he was with us on the World Series team because he really helped us. But yeah, I don't see how he fits. So Valbuena gives us one more season, and then Sanchez will take over first base. So we'll have a young first base crew. Josh Rutledge, I decided to sign for 2 seasons, and the reason for that is that he's still relatively young. He was 28 last season. He's 29 now. He'll be 31 when he ends his contract with us. Reason being, Felipe Gutierrez is 10 years younger. A potential, but look at his fielding. You cannot be a starting second baseman with that kind of fielding. You just can't. Now, the power numbers at 48 and 51, kind of similar to Josh Rutledge, and if anything, if it tells us anything, it would tell us that Felipe Gutierrez might be good for 15 or 14 home runs, maybe just double-digit home runs, right? But I can't start him at second base. I just cannot do it. I can't justify it right now. So he's got to stay in the minor leagues for at least 2 seasons and get the fielding rating up to maybe mid-50s. That would be nice. and then we can slot him in there at second, see what happens. But for right now, he looks more like a designated hitter, right? 8, that's major league ready, in my opinion, to be a hitter. But that's being blocked right now by JD, and I mean, we could use him as a pinch hitter, but he's not getting the playing time in order to work on his fielding, right? It just doesn't make any sense right now. So we're gonna stick him down there in the minor leagues, and then hopefully he gets better at that. So and then we talk about no fielding to Alex Bregman fielding. Look at those numbers there, guys. Solid player. He's not really going anywhere on us. Eduardo Nunez not going anywhere on us. We did sign Randall Grichuk. He wanted 6.1. I gave him 4.3. He wanted a 5-year deal. I gave him 3. So I felt like, guys, to win a World Series and to shake it up too drastically, what didn't make any sense, right? It just didn't make any sense. You want to bring guys. You want to bring your core back. You're in it to win it, right? You're always striving to win a World Series, and these guys are affordable, right? That's affordable. 4.3 a year for Randall Grichuk. It's pretty solid. He hit 30 home runs. Psh, why not? His defense was lacking. I will give him that, but definitely a player we can bring back and really see dividends for. And this one was the controversial decision, but I decided to bring Michael Taylor back, and the reason for that, guys, is Michael Taylor is an asset. And being 28 years old at 79 overall, he's a very good defender. He can fetch us some value. So if he starts to struggle, Manuel Margot starts to play well, he makes the major league roster, Michael Taylor starts to struggle in the major leagues, we can flip-flop those guys, right? I didn't want to just let Michael Taylor walk for nothing, right? And in reality, he's a very good player. He's a 270 type of hitter. It just makes sense, right? Doesn't show it in MLB The Show, but he had a very, very good season in 2017 in real life for the Nationals, taking over for the injured Adam Eaton, who was, I think it was an ACL injury. But Michael Taylor, I do like Michael Taylor. I think that if he performs really well in the next 2 seasons and he gets to be like an 82 or an 83, he'll be 30 years old, and you can trade him at that point, depending on where your team is at. And you're going to fetch some pretty good value for that kind of overall type of player, that veteran type of player. It makes sense. It makes sense. Plus, Manuel Margot, 24 years old. I think he's ready for a major league start. But again, there's no justifiable reason why you shouldn't want Michael Taylor on your major league roster with a guy like Manuel Margot to man the outfield. And then you've got these 2 guys, Puig and Martinez in right field, and then JD at designated hitter. So that is the rationale, guys. That is who's back. So we did bring everybody back, pretty much. So now it's time to start looking at who is in the free agents. And look at this list. Look at that list, guys. Harper, Donaldson, Machado, Murphy, Goldschmidt. It sounds like a fantasy team. Zach Britton, Familia, Harvey. There's Yimmy. Carlos Gomez, Sean Doolittle. Herrera would be a nice ad, I think, for to set up Bruce Rondon. Iglesias, Cole Hamels, Pence, Pollock, Span, LeMahieu. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, guys. Cody Allen, Ian Kinsler is back in there. Josh Harrison is pretty solid himself. So the issue here, guys, is that there's a lot of big names, and I don't want you guys to fall for the big names because this is 2019. You got to remember that. And the way our roster looks right now, it's pretty set. It's pretty set. It's hard to get better at a certain, because like it's pretty in the system. I will attest to that. So if there are guys on this list that you feel like would be good additions, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Zach McAllister would be a nice guy to add, maybe. 6'6", 31 years old. Corey Lubke. There's Eric Young. How many stolen bases did Eric Young get? 28 stolen bases in 92 games. Not bad. He didn't hit for us, so that was the problem. Matt Adams sitting there. Pat Neshek. He's got that funky delivery. Josh Fedgley, he was in our minor league system as a backup catcher. And Brandon Geyer had a good World Series for the Indians a couple years ago. So yeah, guys, there's some people available. There's some people available for sure. It's a very, very good season to start looking at some depth. But when you look at the big, huge list, like Harper, can we even afford Bryce Harper? We can't even afford Bryce Harper for what he wants. And look at that interest level. It's not even close. We're in the negative in the cash flow. So even if we tried to sign him and he accepted, it wouldn't go through because we don't have enough money. Could we sign Machado? Now, but 31 years old, you know, he's going to be playing till he's 36, which is fine. In baseball, that kind of stuff is fine. Matt Harvey, what are you asking for? $20 million a year? Are you nuts? Oh my God, Matt Harvey, what is wrong? Well, I mean, in this game, he was really good. 306, 1-1, that's very, very good. But I think he's hurt, guys. I mean, these numbers here are just, that's bad. 4-10, 4-15. He's just not the same Matt Harvey, guys. Cole Hamels had a pretty solid season. He's just an overall very good pitcher. Look at those numbers. Always, always good. So, guys, what do you think? What do you think? There's a lot of good players here on the board. Should we start looking at some trades of our roster? Should we consider trading JD Martinez? I know it would be hard. Should we consider trading Matt Moore? That would be kind of difficult, but Michael Fulmer is the true ace of the team. Do we basically tell Matt Moore that you were a one-year rental for us and now you're gone? That's a lot of money to dish Matt Moore. He went 6-14 for us. So these are some options to think about, guys. I'll let you chew on it, and I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to hold off and just let me know what you think, and we'll go from there, guys. So I will catch you guys in the next Detroit Tigers video, and that'll be episode 54 or Call of Duty, NCAA, whichever. I'll see you guys later. Leave a like if you like this thing, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that little red button or my logo and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, peace.